But know this, your choice to follow the shepherd is yours alone to make. And those guarantees belong to you because of how you responded to Jesus. So this question of who you're going to follow you need to make that very personal. It's about you and him. We give our lives to Jesus first and foremost as a personal response to the gospel, not as a trade-off. I don't give my life to Jesus so he will do that or make this happen, or if you do this, then I'll be yours. And how many of you guys have prayed? I've prayed those prayers. Anybody else ever prayed a prayer like, God, I'll be yours as long as you can check all these boxes off for me? Okay, nope, Bob, good job. Yeah. I think we've all been there. We try to use a little bit of leverage, like, hey, I know this is pretty good, right? Now, this could be yours for the low, low price of fix my life, right? It's not about that. It's not about, hey, do X, Y, and Z for me. It's about having peace with God. There is a pathway to have peace with God. And without that peace, that pathway, we remain children of wrath. How many of you guys want to experience the wrath of God one day? No. God doesn't even want you to experience that, okay? So this response to the gospel, it's personal. You got to make it about you and him. That's it. What do you choose? Listen, it's like we're all in a boat and the boat's sinking, man, and there's life rafts and someone's like, dude, there's a seat for you. You're looking around and like, I don't know if I can leave my friends. I don't know if and they're like, the boat's going to sink. Are you on the lifeboat or not? Because there's a seat for you. Are you willing to let go so that you can live? One of the hardest things for a believer to go through, and I've seen this so many times, and one of the hardest things to watch is having people in our lives that we care for that ignore the shepherd or stray from the shepherd. And no matter how hard we seem to pray, they don't seem to respond. When we were in Moldova, we talked to a young girl whose husband was caught up in a lot of bad things and was abusive. And we were trying to share the gospel, right? We're trying to share the good news. And she looked at us and said, I tried to do everything right. And God did not fix my marriage. So why should I believe what you guys are saying? That's hard. But here's the thing. God's not controlling or making people do anything. There's a freedom. Just like you have the freedom to choose God, somebody else has the freedom to not choose God. So we make it personal. What do you say? What's your answer? Because here's the thing, he never leaves us. Even if we can't see him working, and sometimes, check it out, when we're in a tough situation and we're looking for God and we don't think he's there, I'll tell you what, he is there. But sometimes because we're having these emotions that are so strong, we get hyper fixated on the wrong thing. And we tend to think that if God doesn't show up right here in this thing that I'm focusing on, then he must not be here at all. And he's like, hey, I'm with you. I'm right here. I get it. You want me to be right there. But that's not what we're doing. And when we lose sight of what God is doing, it becomes really easy to be crushed and start to believe that we're alone. And then when that happens, we spiral even deeper. until we get to this place where, like, if God didn't do that for me, and I prayed, and I fasted, and I read my Bible, man, I went to church, and God did not fix that for me, He must not be here. We end up spiraling into a deeper, darker place, exactly where the enemy wants us. He doesn't leave us. He doesn't abandon us. He doesn't leave us to the wolves. Sometimes we have to just slow down and breathe and ask Him, God, where should my focus be right now? Where are you shepherding me in this moment? Where do I need to go for pasture? It's very difficult for us, at least, as humans, to want something so bad and then to not see it happen. I get it. And I don't want to make light of that at all. Especially when it comes to people in our life that we care about. It's hard. But at the end of the day, all that we can control is our own response to the gospel. That's all that we have control over, is our own answer. What do you say? And God, He chooses in His sovereignty to allow every person that we know that same freedom to make the choice for themselves. And some will choose wisely, and some will choose to reject Him. But God doesn't force anybody to act right or give their lives to them. He will call, He will knock, and sometimes people will resist. It's sad, it's frustrating, and it's confusing all at once. But you have to focus on your own decision to be Him. Be His, not Him. Because the sweetest, most beautiful relationship of all is the loving embrace between the created, which is you, and your Creator. That's the most important relationship of your life. And sometimes we got to walk away from those that we just hope so much for to follow God. But hear me. For people who are not choosing Christ, the direction they're going, the place that they're leading their life to, is not where you want to be. All we can control is our own response. And pray, continue to make yourself available, but no matter what, do not leave the shepherd. Do not stray away from the flock. Every time Jesus had somebody, in the scripture come up and say, hey, what do I got to do to be your disciple? He'd say well, you got to be all in, and we're going today. And they're like, well, I can't go today. And He's like, okay, bye. Right? I mean, you just see it over and over again. The invitation is always open, but the movement of Christ is always forward.